Die first. Be a man.
And welcome to the Dude Catholic Podcast. I'm your co-host Adrian here with a fact for y'all. People who work out get athlete's foot. Athletes get Ramon's foot.
Ramon, that's fresh.
It is indeed. Funky and fresh. Today we're recording because we hardly record anymore. But don't worry, there's plenty more to come. But today we're talking about what you heard in the Be a Man clip. Men die first. We're talking about that because it's just a fact that men die first. Our scripture today comes from
Romans chapter 14, verse 8. If we live, we live to the Lord. And if we die to the Lord. So then, whether we live or die, we are the Lord's.
Delicious.
Delicious indeed. So let's get this podcast on the road. Now it is a fact of life, that men die first. As a matter of fact, according to Harvard, I'm going to pull out the stats here because it's true. In fact, 57% of all those aged 65 and older are female. By age 85, 67% are women. The average lifespan is about 5 years longer for women than men in the US, and about 7 years longer worldwide. So why? The reasons, according to this study, is men take bigger risks. In other words, we do more stupid stuff than women. Which I guess at the end of the day, it goes hand in hand with the next one. We have more dangerous jobs, right? Why? Because we just tend to take bigger risks. We die of heart disease more often than women. And we often die of heart disease at a younger age. We typically are larger than women. And if you look across many species, for example, dogs, a small dog will live longer than a big dog. A big dog will live on average like 15 years, so 10 to 15, depending on the breed. And then the smaller doggies can live up to like 20. Yeah. So that's kind of a thing that you observe in larger animals. So we are, at the end of the day, we are animals. We belong to the animal kingdom. We're just rational, and we have been endowed with certain gifts by our creator that other species don't enjoy. We also commit suicide more often than women. So in the words of George Carlin, R.I.P., speaking of a man who's dead, if you really want equality, no, never mind. That's a bad joke. Be less socially connected. That's another thing that we are. We're less social than women. And for reasons that are not entirely clear, according to this article, people with fewer or weaker social connections tend to live less than those who are socially connected, and women tend to be more socially connected. Yeah, we tend to be less connected than women. Women from a younger age, they just live in community more than men. That's just a fact. And we avoid doctors more than women because we're idiots. I really don't know why. I don't like to go to the doctor.
I do.
You do like to go to the doctor?
I do, yeah. Because I want to know what's wrong with me. I don't know. I want to fix it.
Well, I'm like, if it's not hurting enough, I'm like, meh. You know?
Oh yeah, I guess it depends. But like now that I'm older, I want to. I mean, I'm not looking forward to it, but like a colonoscopy, like, that's important.
I'm afraid of that, but you know what? It's just I don't like stuff up my butt.
Yeah, because
And
well, me either.
You know, well, I don't know, man. I can't judge you.
No, but it's just I think it's irresponsible of us, and that's part of the reason why we die. sooner, but also, I mean, we work longer hours, and I feel the effects of lack of sleep and being in a stressful environment.
Yeah.
And there's women that work long hours and have stressful environments.
But by and large, we choose that type of lifestyle, though. And the thing is, like, it's not like, oh yeah, we choose it. It's that we choose it because it's a necessary evil. Why? Because we need to support our families. Like, I was working 3 jobs at one point because my family needed it. And that's key to the podcast, is that we need to make sure that we communicate, hey, get your situation in order so that you don't have to put that kind of stress on your life. Because at the end of the day, you are enjoyed more at home than we enjoy the money that's there as a result of you not being there. And you know what? There's certain things that we have to miss as dads. There's going to be certain things that we're going to miss just because things need to get done. But there's a difference between things that we have to miss and things that we shouldn't miss.
Yeah.
And sometimes we compromise one, thinking that we're doing the right thing, when in reality we're just trying to provide more for no reason, because we're going to spend as much as we make. We need to make sure that we have enough, but anything extra is just that, extra. No need to kill ourselves. So that's the natural approach to this question, like why? Well, naturally. Then the other one, I wanna get more of you, unless you want to close down the thought, because I feel like I just kind of jumped on the skateboard again. And
No, that's fine. Jump on the skateboard all you want.
Man, people that have been listening for a longer time, they know what we're talking about.
If you know, you know.
That's it. Heroically, that's the second one, right? Heroically, like, we need to die first when it comes to doing heroic things. It comes with being a man. Like, one of the things that we might have spoken with Javier and whatnot was man, I lost my train of thought so quickly with that one.
Well, I have an example while you remember that. And we talked about this many years ago about doing heroic stuff. And there's a really awesome story that came out of World War II in the Pacific campaign with John Basilone, Sergeant John Basilone. They hit up the island of Iwo Jima. That famous picture of the Marines and the sailors raising the flag? That was only the 5th day. That whole battle was 31 days.
Oof.
And when they first landed on the island, the Japanese waited until there was like 2-3 waves of Marines like on the island, and the Marines were like, "What the heck? We're not getting attacked." And then they got attacked, and they got mowed down really bad. They got pinned down. And then Sergeant Basilone, he saw, like, he was scared too. He's like, "What the heck, dude? Like, this is crazy." But then he saw like all these young Marines like all scared and like, "Dude, like, we're gonna die here." And which was the same thing he was thinking about, like, "Dude, we're gonna freaking die here." So they provide them with this like thing in a small pouch. It's like a little spray. It's called Man Up. And
That's funny. Right? That's funny. I didn't know that.
So he had a Man Up, and he knew the risks of getting up and going to every Marine and telling them, "Hey, we gotta."
Sorry, I just got the stupidity of what I said.
It's all good. Like, they had to get off the beach. Like, they just had to keep moving into the island, or else they're just sitting ducks. So he gets up and he's like, "Hey, move, get off the beach. You gotta get up off the beach." And he was dragging dudes that were wounded and just like putting everybody in motion. Like, "Get out of here. Let's go forward." That's where the scary stuff is. But if you stay here, it's even scarier, because that means you don't get to go home. So he just riled all these guys up, and then they started getting up one by one, and he risked his life. He actually died, which was like, it's kind of a bummer, because like, dude, like, we need men like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a flawed man too, but like, the fact that he had that type of strength in him, and it's not like a macho thing. It's just like, "Hey, I'm scared, and so are these guys, and nobody's doing anything. I need to do something to save these lives I need to be a good example. And he died doing something very heroic. And that's why he's recognized. He received, he already had the Medal of Honor, actually, from something else. But this is not a history class.
Sort of.
Sort of.
But that's it, and the funny thing that you mentioned is that beyond the whole, man hub, that was funny.
Right.
But beyond that, it's that one thing you said, man, that we need men like that. But if we have men like that, that means that they never did what made them into the men that we need here in the first place, And we have to be those types of men because, first and foremost, dying to ourselves. I know that every Catholic podcast talks about that. We have to die to ourselves. Like, yes, sometimes it means literally dying. And sometimes a flawed man, that's the only way that we're going to be able to recognize his virtue. If he does something where he has to lay down his life. And I'm not saying like look for the opportunities. Pray that the opportunity doesn't come up. Just last night went to Knott's Berry Farm here in California, and it was one of those horror nights, where they have mazes and people pop out and scare you and whatnot. And a person that will go unmentioned, he's a parishioner somewhere, but a person that will go unmentioned, Javier, said that that when he was younger and kind of an uncatechized lizard, he would oftentimes go and like try to get next to a scared girl so that he can end up making out with her at the end of the night. And so when my daughter and her friend, who are both little, they're 13, wanted to go, I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to chaperone. And on my social media post, I put chaperoning for this cutie and her friend, because you never know when you're gonna have to choke out a young lizard. And I was thinking about that,
young lizard,
because you never know, man. Like you have to be ready. I've been seeing posts on social media. I think the Catholic Gentleman has a podcast, and they were asking the question, like, should a man know how to fight? The answer is yes, clearly yes. How are you going to be a protector if you cannot protect? And so that's a must. You must know how to use a pen in case the dude is bigger. Like sometimes like the other dude has to go because he's bigger and badder than you. But you have to be clever. You have to know how to do something if a desperate time occurs. You pray to God that you never have to do that kind of stuff, but you must be ready to do that. It must be second nature because evil doesn't wait. Evil doesn't ask. It doesn't care if you're not ready. So we must be ready to die heroically if we have to, but hopefully not. That's the thing. Like we all want to die in our sleep. I don't know. Some of us don't. I want to die with a rosary on my hand and Mary's name's on my lips and having consumed the Holy Eucharist before my hour of death. And that's the third thing about this episode. Happy death. We pray the novena to Saint Joseph and we talk about I think the last day of the novena is patron of a happy death. And that's where the words, if anything eloquent came out of me earlier about, dying a happy death, that's where I get it from. Is that last day of the St. Joseph Novena, we're praying that we may have a good death. Whether we die naturally, heroically, in whatever way, it doesn't matter. We have to be ready. In Spanish, we have this saying, Dios me agarre confesado, which means, may the Lord find me having been confessed. That's the best translation I can do.
That's pretty good, actually.
So yeah, and it's a saying because like if we die, like so long as we've gone to confession, we are right with God. May we die right with God. That's what it stands for. And that's what we should stand for. That if we're living in such a way that we're right with God, we should not fear death. Whether it's natural, foreseen, unforeseen, it doesn't matter.
I was talking to one of my coworkers about, we were talking about love. Yeah, we talk about stuff like that too.
Yeah, you do.
But it like this dude's like pretty masculine, but he's like goofy. Like I don't want to say I'm super masculine, but like I like this guy because I can relate to him because we're both goofy as hell, but we're kind of masculine. and I don't know how we started talking about love, and he said something about his wife where like it's been really difficult but he's not going anywhere. He's not leaving. And I asked him, okay, like why do you think you're never gonna leave her? And he said, because I choose to love her. I made that promise to her. Like, that wasn't just some nice thing to tell her. Like, I made that promise to her, and even though I don't like her
at times,
he said a lot of the times I don't like her, but I chose to love her because we're so good together when things are moving in the right direction. Now, they have a kid together. They want more. But they understand that they're not ready right now because they need to get it right again. They need to remember the promise that they made to God and to each other. Or rather, to each other, and as God as their witnesses. As God as their witness. And it's like, dude, yeah. Like, that's what's up, dude.
Yeah.
Because right there, he's dying to his human, I don't want to say desires, but to his very human reaction to the, well, we're going to spend more money. Because he works a lot of overtime too. And that's something I can relate to. It's like, dude.
I was going to say,
like,
yeah.
So much overtime and then like so much money is being spent. Like, that's disrespectful. Like, be conscious about every dollar that's being spent. Because money is kind of hard to earn, sometimes, depending what you do for a living. But sometimes, like, it's really like, dang, dude, we need to die to ourselves for sure, because something bigger will result out of that. Like, I was talking about John Basilone, and yeah, something bigger came out of that. And I'm not saying because of him that battle was won, but that battle got started because he chose to get up and start mobilizing his troops. Like, hey, dude, suck it up. I'm scared too. Let's go. Let's go do our job. Get up, be a man of God, a man that's going to do something good for his family, for his country. Be good, do good. Because our human nature is really selfish and disgusting. Mm-hmm. And we're called for more. We're made for more. That's why I love how my coworker said, because I chose to love her.
Yeah.
And like, he's dying to himself. He's truly dying for himself. To himself.
There's this account that we follow on social media where the little music for the intro came from.
Oh, the Be a Man.
Me a Man. Sometimes I just click on the account and binge on them because I think they're hilarious. But sometimes most of them are dumb. Like, they're just like really dumb. Like, if you drop an ice cube, like, kick it under the fridge, be a man, you know. And then sometimes, like, you get certain things like if you're in pain, suck it up, be a man. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, there's truth to that. You know? So even in the ridiculous, you're gonna find some truth. Mm-hmm. We don't listen to that for truth. We listen to it for entertainment, and maybe that's the case with a lot of people in this podcast. You don't listen to it for catechetical insight or anything like that. I mean, that's one of the criticisms that we got on the podcast comments. I'm like, dude, I said 5-star review. I don't need to hear what I already know. Like, this is not Dr. Adrian Hahn over here, trying to give you like theology. Like, you can get that from every other Catholic podcast. I'm sorry. Like, you're just going to get a couple of goofballs who screw up all the time trying to tell you something, because you know what? Life is not always going to remind you of, actually it is going to always remind you of something scriptural of the catechism. But we do that in a more lighthearted way, and the acknowledgement that, you know what, I'm a goofball and I'm going to screw up. And I'm not just going to screw up a little bit, I'm going to screw up a lot. But at the end of the day, my walk is with the Lord. And yeah, sometimes he's just going to be like, dude, like, well, he's still trying. You know? Yeah. Like, that's one thing that can be said about us. Like, at the end of the day, we're still trying. And like I said earlier, Dios nos agarre confesados. May we be in God's friendship. May we be confessed, because we're Catholic, we're sacramental people. So yeah, die first. Know that you're going to die first. You should die first and foremost so that we can build the kingdom. So pray for us.
I will pray for you.
Ferm
Faro.
aquitur.